Many of the nation's leaders say Donald Trump's proposal to ban Muslims from entering the United States makes a terror attack more likely, not less. Here's the Secretary of Homeland Security, Jay Johnson.
And a leading candidate for office proposes something that is irresponsible, probably illegal, unconstitutional, and contrary to international law, un-American, and will actually hurt our efforts at Homeland Security and national security. We have to speak out. And so we're in an age right now that involves terrorist-inspired as well as terrorist-directed attacks. The Islamic State has targeted the Muslim community, and so it is all the more important that we reach out and build bridges to American Muslims and American Muslim communities. And Mr. Trump's proposal is a setback that takes us backward in the opposite direction.
Katrina Pearson is the Trump campaign's national spokeswoman. Katrina, is there any concern on Donald Trump's part that what he's proposing could make us more at risk of a terror attack?
No, and I think it's absurd that people are actually saying that, considering we just had a terrorist attack prior to Donald Trump saying anything. ISIS wants to destroy America, period. It doesn't matter what we say or what we do. And where has this bridge building been going on with the Muslim community for the last 7 years? All Donald Trump is saying, because we had breaking news today that the House has voted on a measure to reform the visa waiver program. All Donald Trump is saying is we need to pause Muslim immigration, not all Muslims, until we have these measures fixed, or at least the FBI director feels secure enough to say we have a good handle on the situation. That's it.
When we're talking about what motivates people with hate, Donald Trump has been very outspoken in saying that Muslim people are full of hate. Last night in South Carolina, I want to play part of what he said about violent emotion that others may be feeling.
It's obvious to anybody the hatred is beyond comprehension of such a big portion. Where the hatred comes from and why, we will have to determine. We're going to have to figure it out. We have to figure it out. We can't live like this.
How would banning Muslim immigrants from coming into this country help end that hatred?
Well, I don't think you can end the hatred, Contessa. I mean, we're dealing with an Islamic State, people that want to wage jihad and establish a caliphate on the world. I mean, this isn't something that can be solved.
Well, that's
what we
true.
have to do is protect
Katrina,
our nation.
That's true of ISIS, but Muslim immigrants in general are not ISIS. Why would you lump Muslim immigrants in with a terror group like ISIS?
Well, because we heard today the Department of Homeland Security, or yesterday rather, who announced that the Counterterrorism Center has said they have proof and identified radicals who've infiltrated the refugee program. Donald Trump isn't saying all Muslims are terrorists. He's just saying jihad exists in Muslim nations, and we need to put a pause on that until we can figure out how we can better protect Americans.
Okay, so while he figures that out, and while you're figuring out how you get to 0%.
Well, I think Congress is doing that now.
Okay, 0% threat risk. Let me ask you, this year alone, when we're looking at mass shootings, we saw the Lafayette Theater shooting, 3 people killed. The Emmanuel Church in Charleston, South Carolina, you had 9 people killed. The Umpqua Community College massacre there, 10 people dead at a community college. All those gunmen with questionable links to mental illness. What then would be Trump's proposal to do with people who are suffering from mental health issues?
Well, actually, Mr. Trump has been talking a lot about mental health in this country. There isn't a lot of access to it. But these crimes are not the same as radical Islamic jihad. And I'll point to an MSNBC poll that came out here recently that was heavily weighted by Democrats and, more importantly, Latinos, who say they are more concerned about their family member being in a terrorist attack than being in gun violence.
Is Donald Trump prepared to change the Constitution to support his proposal to ban Muslims from immigrating here?
Well, he doesn't need to, because Congress has full authority to do that. It's happened several times in the past.
But that would be, no. The Constitution says that the freedom of religion would prevent Congress from promoting one religion over another and restricting an individual's religious practices.
And there have been laws passed since that in wartime, Congress has the right to restrict immigration from countries that are hostile to the United States.
So now you're talking about countries as opposed to religion.
Well, I mean, we could talk about, he could label the religions. He's talking about Muslims, Arab nations, Arab countries. It's all the same. They're Muslims.
No. Islam is a religion, Arab is not.
Right. Arab nations, Islam, Sharia law, however you want to say it. Donald Trump says Muslims. The majority of the Americans know that means Islam.
That does. You're right. Katrina, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.